When I was a kid and all the way till I was a teenager, I used to struggle with sleep, waking up 3 to 4 times a night and taking hours to fall asleep. Along with that, waking up groggy in the morning. It took me years to finally pick out every single factor that contributed to my bad sleep, because I thought it was completely normal to take that long to fall asleep or wake up that many times a night. Well, I'm here to tell you that regardless of who you are, where you live, there is a lot you can do to fix your sleep. Every single year, I discovered something new about my sleep. And so today, I want to share the tips that actually worked for me to improve my sleep. And this isn't some top 10 ways to fix your sleep of a list of stuff that I Googled online and just found and put it all together. These are actually things that helped me improve my sleep. But before I give you these valuable pieces of advice, my name is Ismail Arman and I help young Muslim men increase their productivity by improving things like their sleep. If that sounds interesting to you, scroll down and join my community. Now there's 3 kinds of factors that I'm going to go over: environmental, external, and routine. Now imagine coming home from work or school after a long and tiring day and entering your room and just being disgusted and thinking, what kind of a pigsty do I even live in? Now this is where the environmental factor really comes in. What is your room like? Do you even want to sleep in your room? This is something that I pretty much started to hammer down on recently rather than a long time ago. What I do before I go to work is make my room look really, really nice. I changed the lighting in my room. I got a new blanket. I removed all the clutter. I cleaned up my room, which is really important. You need to clean up your room every day. And instead of charging my phone in my room, I started putting a big bunch of books right next to my pillow. So what would happen is that as soon as I got home, I basically had like not much to do to get into bed. Maybe I'd take a shower, change my clothes, that's about it. Because as soon as I got in my room, it was already ready. You see, it's vital to make your sleep environment attractive. And this is one of the principles from Atomic Habits by James Clear, which I recently started to implement. So how do you actually go about doing this practically? Now, number 1, focus on making your room clean, safe, and cozy. That means cleaning your room before you actually go to work or to school. Because once you come back, you can't trust your tired self to act on the good intentions that you had in the morning. It's not gonna happen. So do it before you go to work or school. And now make sure that the comfortable bed you've created is only for sleeping and not for resting throughout the day. Another principle from James Clear's book. Now, as for the environment, there are also 2 more things that I focused on. That is temperature and lighting. It is recommended, obviously, that you should keep your room towards the cooler side, around 18 degrees. For me personally, during the Australian winter, it's kind of too cold. So what I do is I keep it around 19 to 22 degrees. I don't always have the heater on. Instead, I'll just have like multiple layers of blankets and quilts. So if I do get too cold in the night, I'll just, adjust accordingly, rather than having to switch on the heater, switch it off. And sometimes I'd also keep the window a crack open just to allow fresh air to constantly be coming inside and for there to be ventilation. And this is really underrated. It really improves your sleep quality and stops that feeling of like a sore or itchy throat in the morning. As for lighting, complete darkness. It should be completely dark when you're sleeping, no question. Don't keep your RGB lights on, don't have your lamp on, don't have that one light in the corner on, complete darkness. You might want to use blackout curtains, but it doesn't really matter. As long as there's no distracting lights outside, it will be fine. Plus, if you slept in, the sun will wake you up, so it's a win-win. By now, you can probably already see the optimal sleep environment for you. Maybe you're in your room and you're looking around and thinking what you can change already. And that's good. Now, over my years at school and uni and balancing work, I've also learned the effect of external factors. And so some of these tips might sound a little weird, like how is that related to your sleeping? And that's why I'm saying this isn't one of those typical top 10 videos. These are tips that you perhaps might not see in a video like that. These are tips coming from a person like you. So number 1, you've probably heard your exercise, and specifically the type of exercise and the timing of it. If you're not exercising already, obviously start exercising, because that alone will just massively increase your sleep. But the type of exercise you're doing now, I've found that weightlifting just on its own can massively improve your sleep despite not doing cardio. Well, you should be doing cardio, but even if you're not doing cardio, it will still improve your sleep. And as for weightlifting, I can find myself doing it late in the day, still be able to go to sleep. Although many people say don't do it so late that you won't fall asleep. What that is true for, that I found, is cardio. For me personally, if I do a Muay Thai or a boxing class late into the day, about a couple hours before I sleep, I cannot sleep. I cannot fall asleep for hours, and so I completely avoid that. All my classes are hours before I go to sleep for boxing and Muay Thai. As for lifting, I can pretty much do it whenever I want, and just the fact that I'm lifting improves my sleep massively. So definitely hop on that. Number 2 is pretty basic. Obviously, you don't want to be stressed out in the latter half of the day, but this is kind of linked to number 3, which you might find a little unusual. Number 3 is asking yourself the question, are you satisfied with the work you do throughout the day? Because for a lot of us, most of the days of the week, the answer is no. The reason exercise helps so much is because it tires out your body and your body feels like it deserves rest. But there's another component to this. Have you on your own put enough focus into your work? Put as much energy and attention as you could have into your work, and have you achieved as much as you wanted? If your answer is no, that's fine. We can start working on that. Start working on building a productive routine, which I can help you out with as well. And I promise you will also see your sleep improve massively as long as you're doing that productive work in the earlier part of the day and doing as much as you're happy with. Now, finally, I want to talk about the routine factors. Now, number 1 is the obvious. You've heard of blue light. For me, it's pretty simple to handle. It shouldn't have that big of an effect on your life. All you really need to do is turn on maybe a blue light filter in the second half of the day, pretty much. Just schedule that on your phone and the laptop. My computer is pretty much always on the blue light filter. It's only when I'm really working that I actually turn that off, which is supposed to actually make you focus a little better, because blue light isn't evil. Blue light can help you stay alert when you want to stay alert. So it's kind of like I use it as suits pretty much. And in general, devices I pretty much aim for and usually achieve just 1.5 hours before I fall asleep. I'm not looking at any screens. I'm just reading, and reading really helps, which is point number 2. Consider reading before bed. If you don't read already, this is the perfect opportunity for you to start reading, because this is exactly how I started liking reading. And that is just to read before bed. Just have a stack of books you like right next to your bed. So every night when you're about to go to sleep, you switch on the lamp, and instead of scrolling on Instagram, you're looking at a book, you're reading, you're doing the habit that you probably already want to do. And if you do, that's great. Just implement that with your bedtime routine and see your sleep improve. So my bedtime routine pretty much looks like this. Once I'm in my room and it's completely quiet and it's very nice and cozy, I finish reading 2 pages of Quran. I switch to writing in my journal. I finish doing that, and then I hop straight in bed from my desk to my bed. And I just start reading and reading, and then I get tired. After maybe like 30 minutes, I close the book, and before I know it, I'm counting sheep on the Himalayan mountains. So in summary, these are the tips. Make your environment safe, clean, and cozy. Optimize your temperature, preferably on the lower side. Keep your room dark at all times. Minimize stress and minimize dissatisfaction from your work by increasing your productivity throughout the first half of the day. Optimize your exercise by lifting weights more regularly, and avoid doing cardio right before you sleep. And finally, manage blue light and also consider reading before bed. I hope these tips helped you, and if you want to be surrounded by people who are on the same journey as you, I highly recommend joining my community. It's linked below, and you'll find me along with several other Muslims there who are working on the same productivity goals as you. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.